All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the LA Soccer Hub Show. My name is Gio Garcia. Today is Monday, March 29th. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. It was a fun weekend for me. I got to watch some LA Galaxy on Saturday. Got to enjoy their victory. I got to see a new LA Galaxy that I think we were all expecting. And it was really good to see LA Galaxy under Greg Vanny, and they were missing a number of players too, and they still got the dub. They still perform way better. Chicharito did his thing. He got an assist. Jonathan Bond was amazing. There's a number of players that we're going to get into, but here to help me talk about it all, we got the man, the myth. We got Chris Maldonado, the Galaxy Guys podcast. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Gio, and it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being on your show. I have to say, I follow your content very closely, and it's necessary content because we get both sides of the story. But happy to be here, man. I'm glad you had me on.
Yeah, no, hey man, I appreciate you reaching out, man. Like I said, like I told you, like pre-chat, everything, everything you've been posting, you've been consistent, right? And I mean, and I love your content. I love what you're doing too, and it's always good to see people out there that like what you said, like you guys kind of get to stay in tune with what's going on with both teams, and that's kind of my goal, to try to give information out from both sides, and to eventually be the source. And obviously have great guests like yourself talk to us about the teams, what they're saying. But before we get into obviously the game this past Saturday, man, let's talk
Sure.
about you. Let's talk about how long you've been having your podcast, how long you've been an LA Galaxy fan, and what led you to you know create your own show.
Absolutely. So I've actually been a Galaxy fan since 1996. My family immigrated to the United States in 1995, and we're from El Salvador. So as you know, 1996, the LA Galaxy, one of their key signings was Mauricio
Yeah,
Cienfuegos. So
Cienfuegos. Yeah, Cienfuegos.
naturally, we were just drawn to the team. So I've been a fan basically since '96. I've been a serious fan since about 2007. Podcast started about a month, little over a month ago, but I had been doing some LA Galaxy analysis and like post match breakdowns on Reddit. So kind of been doing that for a while, but you know, here I am, just growing little by little.
Yeah, man, and you've been solid with the content, and that's what it is, right? Being consistent. I mean, you got the whole setup too, man. I love your setup. You got the Galaxy flag, the clock, everything, man, and that's how you got to do it, right? You just got to, and obviously you're confident in yourself to talk about the team and and do everything that you do. So what led you to just like what, I need to stop going for Reddit and I need to put my voice out there.
It was definitely a combination. COVID did have a lot to do with it. I mean, I come from a soccer fandom background where I love interacting with other fans, whether it's at the stadium, whether it's at viewing parties. I love having that interaction. COVID kind of took that away from us. We weren't able to go to the stadium, we weren't able to go to viewing parties. So I still felt that necessity to reach out and talk soccer with guys like you, friends of mine. So the podcast kind of patched from COVID, and here I am. Now I'm interviewing players. I'm coming on shows like yours, and I can't say it's a bad deal because I get to talk LA Galaxy every day almost now. So very happy to be doing it.
Yeah, man, and then once you're in tune and you're talking about it every day, you kind of get on the roll, right? You're like, okay,
Oh yeah.
and that was at least for me when I first started doing the podcast, and started talking to people and interviewing people, and then you kind of pick up on things, and you're kind of more in tune because you're more attentive to what's actually going on, and you want to talk about certain things, right?
Mhm.
So who's so obviously you've been here, been following teams from the start. Who has been your favorite Galaxy player?
Favorite Galaxy of all time?
Hmm.
That's a really tough question, man. That's a really tough question. But obviously, I have to go with Mauricio Cienfuegos. Just very
Cienfuegos.
biasly, that's my home country's hero, a very first star that me and my family followed. So, and he was very instrumental those first seasons for the LA Galaxy, that first cup winning season. So, have to say, Mauricio Cienfuegos, hands down. What about you, man? Do you have a favorite player of all time?
I mean, I really started paying attention to the LA Galaxy and the MLS
Mhm.
when David Beckham came. That's when I really started paying attention to it. Obviously, I knew of the LA Galaxy and everything, but I didn't really pay too much attention because as you know, back in the day, the MLS is not what it is now, right? It's not like you have as many teams, and they weren't as big as the league is not wasn't as big. But once I think David Beckham just kind of changed that, and I like David Beckham because of what he did, but I also like that team and Landon Donovan for what they did with MLS because it was very I feel like that was very instrumental to, to what it is now, right?
Oh,
And
for
I feel
sure.
like I would say like, Landon Donovan and David Beckham and just being able to see I never saw them. I don't think I ever got a game when I was younger, but once I was able to cover the team and just being to see like obviously the star power of what David Beckham is, and obviously now
Mhm.
he owns a team in the league, and just being able to see how he has transcended the league from a star power and now owning a team and and growing and developing. I've really loved what he has done for like obviously the LA Galaxy, but also the league itself.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I know it's kind of biased and it's kind of like that the answer, but it's like I don't have that rich history like I would say like you do, with all the different backgrounds and Cienfuegos and everything. Have you ever met him?
I've met Cienfuegos at a handful of LA Galaxy events throughout the years, just sporadically here and there. The last time I saw him was at a viewing party, maybe 2014, 2015.
Hmm.
So I've met him a couple times, have some pictures with him and all that. So
Yeah, obviously the people who don't live in LA, or outside of Southern California, but there's a big Salvadoran community. If obviously if you didn't know that, and there's a lot of people, that are LA Galaxy fans, right? Because of the star. Obviously, we love every South American, Central American country loves soccer,
for sure.
and there's also a big rivalry as well too. Like I feel like when Mexican fans and Salvadorian fans are the same fan when it comes to Galaxy fans. Well, when it comes to being a Galaxy fan, right? You guys are on the
For
same
sure.
team. Everybody's on the same team, right?
For sure. Yeah. Rivals every other day of the week. But when game time rolls around, LA Galaxy games, everyone's best friends, man.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I said because I know like when Mexico goes and plays out Salvador and vice versa. Those are even like when you guys when Guatemala. Did you go to the? I don't know if you did you go to the game when Salvador and Guatemala played here? A couple like I think it was like 2 years ago. It was probably before COVID, obviously.
Yeah, no, I've only been to a handful of El Salvador national team games back in the day when I was very young, like Rose Bowl days. But I haven't really kept up with them recently, man, in all honesty.
Hey, man. Well, you
Yeah.
gotta go because I gotta cover the Salvador versus I think it was Guatemala. They ended up playing at the Bank of California Stadium, but man, Salvador. I mean, it's the both, which was hard for me to tell because who was who because of the obviously I'm not as
Same
familiar with
colors.
the yeah same
Yeah.
colors. So the whole stadium was like navy blue, right? Like that baby blue color.
Yeah.
And I've only seen the Bank of California Stadium like black, right? Obviously
Right.
covering LAFC, and it was just like it was a crazy experience, and I was like, whoa, I never seen the stadium like this color, but it was an amazing experience because uh fans got into it. It was just so much passion. When one goal scored and like both sides were cheering, and it's really exciting when you get to see
Yeah.
the international games, and obviously they're not as big as obviously the Mexican national team or the U.S. national team, but there is a rivalry and there is a fan base
Oh,
that
for
follows
sure.
both
Yeah.
both national teams in LA.
Even if they're not that big, like crowd size, the atmosphere, that energy, our people are very energetic.
Yeah,
It's felt.
yeah. No, I like it when they do it like smaller stadiums like that, or at Carson, Dignity Health Sports Park, because sometimes they do them at like Rose Bowl, and it's way too big. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
like way. I think they even had Brazil too. Like I wanted to a couple. Well, I think I saw Neymar when Brazil. I forgot who they played here. But I feel like sometimes the stadium's not able to sell out, then it kind of takes away from like the actual atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. That hollow feeling.
Yeah, yeah, because when you're so used to everything just being packed and everything.
Yeah.
But you know what, man? Let's talk some Galaxy, man. You're here to talk some LA Galaxy. You know, you shared your story with us, and by the way, man, love everything you're doing. Obviously on social media, we got to get you on Twitter, man. We need to get you on Twitter though.
I actually just started a Twitter recently and, kind of getting some tweets out there. So,
Well, you get the ball going, right? You just got to get the ball going.
yeah,
Twitter's a whole completely different game. You know, you got to be more, you got to be able to use your words a little more, and obviously Instagram's obviously more of the content and stuff. But
right.
it took me a while to understand Twitter, like a couple years back. But now that I kind of understand it more, and obviously, and by the way. LA Galaxy fans are are on there, like whether they're talking smack to LAFC fans or vice versa. Like the content on there is amazing. So you definitely got to get on there. You definitely got to be posting on there too, because man, you're missing some good stuff.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, I follow your content often on Twitter, so that's where I saw the memes today. And
That wasn't a meme. So I wasn't a meme. So I got okay. So I need to address this. Galaxy fans, you guys may or may not care. But obviously the Carlos Vela, doing the LA sign. I ended up tweeting. I should just adjust this now. I ended up tweeting. Let me see what I just want to get this right, because then what did I say? I'm just looking. I said, who approved the photo of Carlos Vela doing the LA fingers wrong? Obviously, LA
right,
fingers. You do LA, with your thumb, and then you have the A in front of the D, in front of your thumb, your left thumb.
right.
Well, Carlos Vela did it behind his thumb, and that's not the right way to do it. And I've never seen it like that. It's like, so I didn't notice it at first because I ended up posting that photo on LA Soccer Hub. So I didn't notice that photo. I just posted real quick. I was doing something, and then LA Galaxy fan talk. Oscar, he ended up posting it, and he did a comparison. He put Carlos Vela up there, and it just didn't, it didn't, it was, and then that's when I noticed it, right? And that's when I was like, whoa, because it was next to Alessandrini. And then Alessandrini, obviously, he always did it when he scored a goal for the LA Galaxy.
Oh yeah,
And then you notice it, and I'm like, oh dang, how did and my mind was like, how did you not catch that? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, if you're the photographer, obviously media day or whatever, how did you not catch that?
yeah.
And it was out there, and I didn't expect that tweet to blow up. And that typically happens. Like, I don't expect certain tweets, but like I got like a bunch of likes, a bunch of retweets, and then like obviously I posted it on LA Soccer Hub. And I mean, if you just see the comments, the comment section is insane
Oh,
on
I
LA
saw,
Soccer
I
Hub.
saw, I
People
saw.
people are
Yeah,
going at it. People are going at it, and
yeah,
and I didn't expect that, but like nevertheless. So I had a couple, people from the LFC side, just like fans, whatever. They're like, man, like like, damn, I can't, like, along the lines, like, man, I can't believe we did Vela like that on the meme. I was like, it's not a meme. I requoted, I retweeted, and I requoted LA Galaxy fan talk.
yeah.
But now that I look at it, it does look like a meme.
It definitely wasn't a good look. And like you said, somebody must have caught that, but it just slipped through. I mean, we have pictures of Kobe Bryant doing the LA sign, you know, the proper way. Alessandrini, Chicharito, Vince Scully, multitude of different Galaxy athletes doing it the proper way. Definitely not a good look, but I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, right. And it happens. Obviously, the big things, right, that I see from the obviously Galaxy fans who are enjoying it, right? It's like, you can't get this right if you're supposed to be LA's team, and blah 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 along those lines, right? So it's unfortunate because it's also Carlos Vela,
Mhm.
the star of the team, and that picture went out everywhere, and it's like. And then I've also seen people like like Photoshop his hand. He only has like the L. So
That was me.
people, was that you? Were
Yeah,
you
that
the one
was
that
me.
photoshopped it?
Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering who photoshopped it. He just had the big L.
Both L's.
Wow. So we know who was the mastermind behind it. I didn't expect to be speaking with them today, but yeah, I mean, it's been a wild last 24 hours on Twitter
Oh, for
with the LA
sure.
sign, and people have been switching their profiles the profile accounts to Chicharito doing the LA sign properly, like a bunch of a bunch of people, Alessandrini, and that's the thing about rivalries, right? Obviously, if you're on the other side of LAC, you don't like this. It's kind of annoying, but this is what I love about rivalries. Like anything that Galaxy fans can get over on you, they're gonna do it. It's like you give me an inch, I'm gonna take a mile. I'm just gonna hold on, and vice versa, and that's how it is, and that's how it should be. And I think that's how rivalries work. That's how it makes it interesting. Obviously, if Galaxy does something or Chicharitos does something, it goes back and forth. And it's always more entertaining or more fun, like right if you're LA Galaxy fans, because that's Carlos Vela and that's just starting he's doing something wrong. So it makes it that more juicier, right?
Oh, I'm sure if Chicharito had done it or if Chicharito had done something funky, I'm sure it would be plastered all over social media and LAFC fans would be, doing the exact same
and,
things.
and and like to be fair, Chicharito has been plastered after last season, so it's
Oh
not
man.
it's not like Chicharito hasn't had his fair share, or LA Galaxy has not, but it's just what it is. That's what happens, and I actually love it, right? I love that people making fun of each other, the teams,
Yeah.
like because it just it just kind of came out of nowhere, and no, I didn't expect this to happen, but now like it's been more than 24 hours and people are still commenting, still sharing it, still like I said, still going hard on that, and just I see Galaxy fans be like tell AFC fans, man, just take the L. You just got to take the L on this one. Like, so it's like, man, I've had to stop watching because I'm just like laughing at some of these tweets and stuff, and like, I try to push stuff out there, but like I said, I didn't think this was gonna blow up like it did, or people tell me like, why did I create a meme? And I was like, I didn't create a meme; it was a tweet, but that's just how it
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah. No, it is. And it's out there. It's viral. But what
Yeah,
can you do?
yeah, it's viable within the community, and that's what it is, right? This is what this
Yeah.
LA soccer community is about. So, I mean, I love it. I mean, I don't know, because on Twitter, you never know what's gonna blow up. Yeah, or social media just in general, right? You never know
Sure.
what's gonna blow up. You never know what's gonna happen. But if you get enough LA Galaxy fans behind something, or LAFC fans behind something, there's always gonna be something to talk about.
Sure.
But let's talk about this game, man. So obviously
Let's do it.
Saturday, I was there. I was finally able to see Greg Vanny, and the LA Galaxy. They
Mhm.
look different. Like I tweeted this out. The first 15 minutes I saw them play, I'm like, this is a completely different new team. This is a different team, different rhythm. Just how they move, how they're high pressing, and I was like, okay, this is I think what we're expecting, and we're glad we're no, it's not the same team as last year, and they were missing what Jonathan Dos Santos, Efrain Alvarez, Sebastian Lletget,
Yeah.
Julian Araujo, uh, a couple other players. It was I feel like it was literally half a team, and they still played well.
Yeah.
They still played solid.
Yeah.
What did you think of the game, and what did you think of LA Galaxy's performance?
So, like you said, Gio, the majority of the starters were gone. We had a presumable starting 11. Uh, Chicharito, we know for sure he's a starter. Jonathan Bond, for sure, we know he's a starter. Every other position on the field was really a toss up. You know, um, the first half was pretty decent, and like you said, it honestly did feel like it was a completely different team from anything we've seen in recent years. The stats didn't kind of reflect that. The stats were more reflective of, like a Siggy Smith type of team. But again, you can't really judge the team too harshly over a preseason game, especially when you're missing half of your starters. But I thought they played a very good first half. The second half definitely fell apart for the LA Galaxy. Sasha Kleshton got really tired. He had to be subbed out 75th minute. Midfield was just completely overrun. Saldana and Perez just, the inexperience was showing later on in the game. And I mean, that's part of the reason why I believe New England Revolution ended up with 24 shots, 7 shots on goal. The LA Galaxy had 8 total shots, 2 shots on goal.
Yeah, no, and that I think, and when a game like this happens, and right, you're without that many starters. Obviously, I didn't really look at the stats afterwards because right? When it was the preseason, and I think when I look at the stats, I think for me it was more of an eye test game. When the way I looked at the game, because obviously, I wanted to see how Jonathan Bond was going to look in goal. He by far impressed me. He
Oh
impressed me
yeah.
a lot. He impressed me just being there at the game. He was so vocal. I don't know if you watched the game from the
Yes.
house, but like I don't know if you could hear from the TV is what I'm trying to say how vocal he really was.
Yes.
And he was vocal when they were playing up top, they're playing out the back. Where Jelly Neal needed to move or open up in space, show more. Like he was doing a lot of the intangible things that that had not been there from the goalkeeping side last season. It wasn't there the way Jonathan Bond was so vocal, and I think
Right.
that's going to be really key for the LA Galaxy moving forward
Yeah.
because a vocal goalkeeper like that, and who could also play with the ball on his feet. He looked really solid. Obviously, this is just one game, right? One game, but
One
this is what
game.
I saw and this is what I understood. Just his vocal leadership and how he helped his teammates. When they were getting pressed or they were getting pressure, where someone needed to move, open up in space, or move more to the right, left, whatever. That is so key, and it just really spoke to me and told me that, look, he really understands
Yeah.
his role. He really understands how the LA Galaxy are gonna what they need from him, and he's providing those intangibles that not that many goalkeepers can.
Oh, for sure. And when you look at the stats, I mean, and we don't really have very many stats. We have what Spectrum Sportsnet gave us, right? He took 7 shots on goal. He had 6 really big saves. Saves that I would say arguably Bingham would have let in. Some of those would have been goals had it been Bingham at goal. I was very impressed, even though it's a preseason game, even though he's, preseason form, he played a fantastic game. And I was extremely impressed by him. Um, I'm very cautiously optimistic at the moment for this LA Galaxy defense because I do think that it still needs a lot of work. They need to sign at least one more center back, right? But cautiously optimistic because Jonathan Bond is at goal, and I feel secure in the goalie position.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, right. I think that game, obviously, we'll have to see what tomorrow. And you talked about the saves. We were even talking about the press box. Like he literally just saved 5 goals. Like he
Mhm.
had five. Like you said, what was 6 saves? 5 out of those 6 were all could have been goals, but he was just at the right time. He came out when he needed to came out. He came out aggressive. Obviously, he dove the right way. Whether it's luck or I think it's more preparation of when knowing when to dive and being there for save. He had a great game, and I think that's what you need from your goalkeeper, and that's something that the LA Galaxy didn't have last season. And I really do see that the Jonathan Bond. To me, right now, one game in, I think I believe for him to be the starting goalkeeper. I love everything I saw from that
Yeah,
one game. Now
without a doubt.
I got to see how he looks, in game 2, game 3, game 4, just to build the consistency. But obviously, they've already had a couple of games. They've played, I think, San Diego Loyal, and then they also played Columbus Crew, and then they played LAFC. Now this is
Yeah,
their 4th game, so obviously Greg Vanny, I think he knows he has an idea that he's probably been seeing this from Jonathan Baum. So for me, this is my first time seeing him. And I loved everything that he provided. And I think moving forward, if this is the type of goalkeeping that Jonathan Bond is going to provide, without a doubt, he's the number one starting goalkeeper.
yeah,
And you talked about the defense, right? Jonathan Jorge Villafana, I really liked. I know he only played 30 minutes, but he played solid. I love what he did in those 30 minutes. I love how he was when I saw him play on the field and everything that he did. Everything spoke to me about experience. He's an experienced MLS
for
player.
sure.
He knows what to do. He knows when to open up in space. He knows when to pass. He knows when to move up. He knows what to do on the left hand side, whether it's on the offensive side or the defensive side. Everything he did in those 30 minutes, I was okay. I was like, I don't think the LA Galaxy necessarily need to worry about the left, the left back side, or the left wing
Mhm.
side on the defensive end. So I really like. It was only 30 minutes, and Greg Vanny did mention that it was his first game back, and that's why he was subbed at half, in the 30-minute mark. But he
Yeah,
he also added that he could have played the rest of the half. So, I thought that was very very interesting. That was a solid thing
yeah,
from Jorge Villafana. Now, on the other side, right? Joe, we assume it's going to be Joe Araujo, but Joe Araujo is not here. So, who's going to step up? Is it going to be, potentially Jalen Neal who's going to step up on the other side? Danilo Costa. We don't know yet, right?
Marcus
If
Vincranis as well, Nick
Yeah,
DePuy.
yeah. I don't know if Nick DePuy will play as a right back, but
Oh,
but
I thought we were talking about center back, but yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
so I think right. I think we know what players are gonna
Mhm.
if Jorge Alfano will get the left hand side. Joel Araujo. They're not going to the
Right hand
Olympics
side.
now, so Joel Araujo is gonna be there. So it's like you talked about center back, right? It's gonna
Mhm.
look like Daniel Sturridge, Nick Dupuy, or Pipo Gonzalez. He's injured, I think, and
Yeah.
he wasn't available for this game, and I don't know if
Mhm.
he's gonna be available for Wednesday's game.
You're saying that your starting center back pairing would be Nick DePuy and Daniel
R-
Steres?
Right now, right now,
Yeah.
right now, because we don't know Pipo Gonzalez of
Yeah.
what his injury is. Right now, I mean, give it 2 weeks, that could completely change.
We also have Derek Williams, who we just signed this offseason, 28-year-old coming from Blackburn Rovers, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like a guy, he's definitely a starter in my book, just, based off of the highlights that I've seen, the career that he's had. Um, the question is who's going to be paired with Derek Williams, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I know that a lot of people out there are saying that their go-to guy is going to be Daniel Steres. But I would say I would rather give that shot to Nick DePuy. Daniel Steres is a complete player. He's about as good as he's going to get. He's what, 30 something years old, 30. Nick DePuy still in his early to mid 20s. He still has that ability to grow, and he has the potential, in my opinion, to be a better player than Daniel Steres. That would be my pick for a pairing, Nick DePuy and Derek Williams. We'll see. The LA Galaxy might end up signing another center back, so who knows?
Yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting. I think right now what we saw, I just kind of want to correct myself. I was just talking about the players that just had played, right?
Mhm.
So I
Yes,
don't know what moving forward, but I think one thing is that they do have depth at that position, right? If one player gets injured or one
sure.
player's not having a great game, because we know what happened last season, right? We know, People Gonzalez was not doing good.
Mhm.
By any he did not perform the way we thought what a TAM player should perform, and it was unfortunate for the LA Galaxy. Now we're seeing the players that return, and are still in the same in the roster, are getting a boost under Greg Vanney so far, right? And I think that also comes with with the experience of what Greg Vanney needs to do with these guys and how he wants to play. And what I saw from this game is that they played from the back way better than I ever saw them play from the back last season. Like just in one game, just in this preseason game. Most of these guys may not be on the first team because like we're missing so many players, but you had so many Galaxy 2 players that were playing from the back and were playing from the midfield and from the back to the top. We didn't really see that last year, and I really like that. That
Yeah,
that just got my mind thinking when I was at the game. I'm like, I know most of these guys in today's game is not going to be a starter. I understand that, but if these guys who are trying to break into the first team are playing this way, okay, now I can only imagine if you have a legit Efrain, Joe Araujo, what it's going to eventually look like, right? And
yeah,
the good thing for the LA Galaxy, they're going to get those guys back. They're going to get those
sure.
guys back by the time by the time they go to Tucson, and they're going to have number of games out there to play in Tucson, and work out those kinks and get everybody's get in rhythm with everybody. But I was really impressed with the so far one preseason game.
Yeah,
Now
same.
I want them to be consistent, because that's one thing with the LA Galaxy. They weren't consistent last year, but I think after one preseason game, if they're able to do this throughout the preseason and they get the rest of the horses, I'm very optimistic for the LA Galaxy.
Same. I mean, like I said, cautiously optimistic. I've gotten used to the habit of raising my expectations for the LA Galaxy every year since 2014, and every year they fall short of my expectations. So this year I'm cautiously optimistic, but everything seems to be trending in the right direction. And like you said, very impressed with what we saw that first preseason game. Standouts were Jonathan Bond, which we spoke about, fantastic goalkeeper. Cameron Dunbar, I was very pleasantly surprised with. I don't know what you thought. You were live at the stadium and you got to actually see him play live, but from what I saw on TV, that kid is playing with the desire of wanting some first team minutes. He played like a man on a mission. His dribbling was great. His confidence to take players 1v1 was there. Now, obviously, he's young, inexperienced, and it showed some of those plays. He might have dribbled a little too much, but pleasantly surprised with what I saw. A lot of the young players are really stepping up.
Yeah, I really love Cameron Dunbar. I really loved his game. I love what he did on the left wing side. And there's a spot open, and if there's a spot open on the LA Galaxy roster, it's that left wing spot, right? And obviously, we know that as of I think as of now, the LA Galaxy are still still pursuing, excuse me, Christian Pavone. So obviously, that's not going to change. So that spot is going to be open whether they get Pavone before the start of the season or they get him whenever, or they go after someone. We don't know, right? As of right now, we can kind of put, from up top, we know Chicharito, we know a goalkeeper defending. We can kind of fill the team out. But if that left wing side is open, and if it's going to be Cameron Dunbar, I don't have a problem with that after one game, right? But I need to see Cameron Dunbar do this throughout the whole preseason. And if
Right.
he's already done this for Craig Vanny the last 3 games, great. But obviously, we don't know that. We need to see how it looks again on Wednesday. If he starts on the left wing
Yeah.
side, we need to see how this looks going into Tucson, playing those games out there. And if Cameron Dunbar does what he did, Saturday, I love it. I think one of those things that he can improve on. Obviously, I know he's young, but like this is for him to take. Is learning when to pass the ball to Chicharito, and we'll go more into that. And I know Greg Vanny had talked about that, but I think to me, sometimes the miscommunication of when to pass the ball back. But outside of that, I loved everything he did. I loved his versatility. I loved his speed. He looked
Mhm.
more of a mature player than what I saw from last year. He's one of those players that I think took his game from last year to this year to the next level.
I
Right?
agree. I had the exact same assessment. It really did look like his development this offseason was like it went from a level 8 to a level 10. It was fantastic to see it. And I'm very optimistic to see him particularly get some minutes this season because I know he's hungry for it. And that's important.
Yeah, and I think that the left wing side, it's right there for Cameron Dunbar.
Hmm.
Because like I said, I don't think the Pabon situation may get finalized within these next couple of weeks. But if he's able to be consistent like this throughout the whole preseason, perform and be versatile, and game by game, he's able to improve and get better from some of the mistakes. I think you can ride with Cameron Dunbar, right? But he has to prove it throughout the whole preseason. Right? I
Yeah,
love what he did this one game. He has a couple more games to go, but I think that spot right there it's wide open for Cameron Dunbar. And if he plays like this, like how he did Saturday, I have without a doubt that he would be a leading candidate to be there on the left wing side. Now
for
it just
sure.
comes to understanding more of the offense, understanding where they want the ball, where Chicharito wants the ball, and everything. That's going to come with time. But I think what he did, I'm a believer, and I love what he's doing, what he did on the left wing side.
Sure.
Another player that I was very impressed with was Jonathan Perez. Obviously, he got the goal,
Mhm.
and Greg Vanny had talked about him, and I just want to read a quote that Greg Vanny, talking about Jonathan Perez. Here, let me read it. He said he had a nice preseason. He scored at almost every game so far. He's deceptively quick. He's obviously got a nice left foot and a good feel for the game. It's been enjoyable to work with him, and he's really making progress. Greg Vanny loves what he's doing. And Jonathan, he also, he also joked about Jonathan Perez. He said he didn't know if he was old enough to drive, right? And I think he's also deceptive with how he looks. He looks young, but on the field, he's playing a grown man's game. And obviously, he got the goal. He scored the goal. The assist from Chicharito. But I know, and I think he also scored a goal. I think was it Columbus Crew, San Diego Loyal. I think we saw one of those videos come out. I think it was against San Diego Loyal. So
Right.
I think whenever you can score that's brownie points to you, and you're being consistent like that. To me, if he does this, Jonathan Perez is going to find a way on this roster, and he's going to find some minutes this year and some significant minutes if he's consistent this preseason.
Yeah. I definitely want to see more of him this preseason, because he looks like a player that has a very high potential ceiling, a very high ceiling of potential. I like
Yeah,
what he saw, and he has a nose for goal. I mean, Greg Vanny's saying he scored in every goal this preseason so far. I mean, I don't even think we can say that about Chicharito, who's our $7 million star striker, right? He's the guy you expect to be scoring multiple times every single game, and yet here we have this young kid doing just that. So
yeah, yeah. No, and just to add on to that, the reason why that goal happened was because of Chicharito's effort.
sure,
I think all that whole play, that whole sequence was because of Chicharito. But I'm with you, like Jonathan Perez. If he's able to score these goals, right? It's preseason, right? But if he's able to be consistent and be part fight his way in, he's gonna find a way into that midfield somehow, some way,
yeah,
and just being consistent, doing what he's doing. And I think there's a couple spots. If there's injuries, there's World Cup qualifiers, there's going to be opportunities for
national
those.
national team call ups. You're expecting Sasha Kleshten at 35 to stay healthy, which is kind of a long shot. You're expecting Victor Vasquez at 34, who hasn't played really very much, to stay healthy. You're expecting Sebastian Lletget, Jonathan Dos Santos to stay healthy and not go away on national team duty. There's going to be minutes for these young guys. And I think they can smell that and they know that. And that's why they're playing their hearts out, trying to prove themselves and get those minutes when they're available. That's the
Yeah,
way I see it.
yeah, and I mean Jonathan Perez, he's one of those guys that has that option right there. He knows that he's gonna get that playing time, and just again, he's just gonna have to be consistent. I think to me, it's gonna be very interesting because at first I wasn't so sure about the depth, but I want to see what the depth looks like again tomorrow. I mean, again, excuse me, again on Wednesday, and when they go to Tucson. Obviously, once the more of the complete the once the rest of the guys get there and the team starts to look complete. But there's going to be a lot of back and forth, and I think for a player like Jonathan Perez is just staying ready, because he in this whole preseason he's probably going to play a lot of minutes, but as soon as Sebastian Lletget, Jonathan Dos Santos, those guys come back, he may get put to the bench, right? He may, because there's other guys there, right? Yeah, and rightfully so, they should start. But he's just gonna, and I think this, but he's gonna have to just stay ready, because at any point, hey, World Cup qualifiers or so and so's leaving, blah, it's your turn, you're up next, and I think having these preseason games, and it just builds confidence. It's building
Sure,
confidence, building the rapport with you and Greg Vanny,
for
you and your
sure.
teammates and your coach. Like, hey, I know you haven't played, but we know what you can do. We know what you can
Yeah.
perform, and this is this is in a way, this is kind of like the best thing for the Galaxy, because these young guys are getting that experience.
Yeah. I mean, it's true in every field you can ever, right? It's you prove yourself to the new boss because you want to make a great impression, and I think that's what a lot of these kids are doing, and it's evident. I mean, you like guys like Augie Williams, right? Who, as far as we're concerned, has been phenomenal throughout preseason. And we caught glimpses of that when he came on. Obviously, by that time, the LA Galaxy had pretty much the midfield had really broken down. So Augie Williams didn't really get a lot of service, but even those small brilliant moments we saw from him, it was evident he's miles ahead of even guys like Ethan Zubak. You know, so it's going to be interesting to see the next couple games, man. I want to see the young guys get more minutes. Guys like Jalen Neal, Marcus McGranis, Augie Williams.
Yeah, and I'm with you. It's unfortunate. Augie Williams, obviously he came in the second half, but by that time, like you said, that the LA Galaxy were already out of rhythm. There's a lot of subs. When there's so many
Mhm.
subs coming in, it changes the game, right? It changes the rhythm of
Oh
the
yeah.
game, and it was from both sides, right? And it's preseason. This is what you expect. He did score, but it was called offside. He was offside.
Mhm.
But I think for Augie Williams, right? Obviously, if you know I know what he's done with the LA Galaxy too, right? But I think um he needs to do that with in the preseason with the senior team, and I think he is. I think it's just he's in a very he's probably in the most competitive spot out of everybody on the team because it's Chicharito. I don't think he's going to start over
Right.
Chicharito. I know you mentioned Ethan Subak. I definitely see that opportunity there without a doubt. Him
Yeah.
and Ethan
Yeah.
Subak, like without a question. Now it just comes to a point like if Chicharito's 100% healthy and if 100% fit like we saw and we
Mhm.
expected him to do, and the runs he's making the runs, I almost kind of wonder how much of an opportunity will Augie Williams get unless they go play a 4-4-2,
I
right?
think,
Unless they play with two strikers up top.
and that's a possibility as well. But Gio, I honestly do believe that it's a very realistic possibility to say that Augie Williams, this 2021 season, can end up playing a substantial amount of minutes because you have to assume that at 31, 32, uh, Chicharito will have to stay healthy throughout the entire season. Realistically speaking, probably not. Somewhere down the line, he'll either be fatigued, he'll have to be sat for a couple games, or he'll strain something. Right? Very common with guys of his age. You have to also assume that Chicharito won't get a national team call up. I mean, just today it was on social media that, according to the head coach of the Mexican national team, he said clearly that Chicharito was still in his plans going forward. And why wouldn't he be? This is the Mexican national team's top goal scorer of all time. So Chicharito potentially injured at some point or fatigued or potentially away on national team duty, you have only two options, which is Ethan Zubak and Augie Williams. And as it stands right now, from what we've seen, Augie Williams has shown more than Ethan Zubak has shown in the last year, even when he had more playtime. So
Well,
very
well,
realistic that Augie Williams gets
well
playtime
just
this
just
season.
to, just to be clear on that point, Ethan Zubak has done it in MLS. Augie Williams, no discredit to him, he's done it at Galaxy too.
Sure.
And it's unfair to say that, but it's true, right? It's unfair to say, but it's true. And obviously, I don't know what type of preseason. I know he tweeted that he scored in every single game. This is why I mean it's in a tough situation. I agree with you on the Chicharito part, but I don't agree with you about the injury part. I think Augie Williams gets a shot if Chicharito goes to the national team, but I think a Chicharito that's healthy, a Chicharito that's watching his body, a Chicharito that's 100% focused, I don't think is going to get fatigued or injured or have those type of injuries because he's not in shape. I think that happened last season, and I think he's 100% focused. I think
Yeah.
the reason where Augie Williams gets a shot, Augie Williams gets a shot if Chicharito gets called up to the national team. I think that's when he gets a shot, and I think he gets a shot when he comes in for 5 minutes or 10 minutes because I think a Chicharito 100% fit how he is, 100% focused, he's not getting off the field in the 80th
Oh,
minute.
for
You know what I'm
sure.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see him getting off the field, right? Or let's say, to your point, he gets injured for whatever reason, someone comes in hard, then yeah, I mean, that's a slight chance. To my point, I think Augie Williams is going to be a tough situation unless they play. They need to, they play. We know Greg Vanny. He sometimes switches formations, and I would like to see this Wednesday Augie Williams and Chicharito paired up top. I don't
That
know
could
if
be
he's done that.
interesting.
I don't know if he's done that. I would like to see that. I don't know if Greg Vanny is going to do that throughout this preseason, but I would like to see how him and Chicharito link up there. And I don't know
Sure.
if that's in his plans. I don't know if they already done it. But I want to see how that looks because we know Greg Vanny can switch up the formation, but we know how we can kind of see how he played, right? Saturday's games, we can kind of expect it may just be Chicharito up top, right? But I think if we get to see how, I would just like to see it. I'm just gonna be selfish. I just want to see the pairing of Chicharito and Augie Williams, how that looks, because and I also want to see how Augie Williams looks with the first team. Or it could just be Augie Williams starts on Wednesday. Augie Williams gets to start, right? And Chicharito comes off the bench, or Chicharito doesn't play. That could also be a possibility. But I just think Augie Williams is in a tough spot because Chicharito has a lot to prove. After the season
Does
he had last season, Chicharito has to score goals.
for
And
sure.
if he doesn't score goals, Chicharito's not. He ain't coming back next season. But I don't see that, right? I see a Chicharito is going to score goals, that has something to prove. He has all this, built up. He has. This is the year. This is the time.
This is
Chicharito,
make it or break it.
make it or break it, and he
Yeah.
understands that. And everything that I saw from Chicharito, his runs and everything told me that, okay, this is going to be Chicharito season. Now, I don't know what that means. Is he, I expect it to be a lot of goals, right? Is it going to be more than 15 goals?
In
I
your
don't know.
opinion, Gio, how many goals does Chicharito need to score this season in order to satisfy the fans and earn that $7 million check?
I don't see. I think it's scoring goals and getting wins.
Mhm.
It's not just about the goals, right? It's scoring goals and getting wins.
Sure.
I think a fair number to put, just to put, it's like he has to score over 15 goals. I feel like over 15 goals, because if Chicharito scores more than 15 goals, then he's in the conversation potentially of Golden Boot. He's in the conversation of MVP, and you would assume if Chicharito scoring 15 goals, the LA Galaxy are doing some damage in the league. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying?
Sure.
He has some assists, but I think he has to score more than 15 goals, because that's where it will put LA Galaxy on a different path, and he's a threat up top. And if he doesn't score more than 15 goals this season, I don't know if they're a big of a threat. Now, they get Pavone, and Pavone scores 10 goals or whatever, or Grant Sir on the other side scoring 10 goals. Okay, that can happen. I understand that can happen. Chicharito scores 14 goals and he has like 12 assists, and the LA Galaxy they can make a deep run. I think it's about the goals, but it's about the wins, and it's about the effort.
Sure.
And everything that I saw yesterday tells me that we're okay. I'm like, okay, I've seen this Chicharito. I've seen this Chicharito with the Mexican national team. I've seen this Chicharito in Europe, the way he was running and making those runs and everything.
He's hungry.
He's very hungry.
Yeah.
And, that's why I feel it's going to be hard for Augie Williams. Not because Augie Williams is so talented, it's because it's Chicharito and he has so much to prove.
The thing that I believe hinders Chicharito more than anything else is I've noticed something with a lot of designated players that come to LA Galaxy that are coming from big teams like Chicharito. Chicharito's coming from some of the biggest teams in the world. That's his background. What makes a player like that successful in MLS is the ability to change their mentality, right? There are some players that come into the league and they don't change their mentality from what they experienced in Europe. So they come here expecting the same service, the same passing, the same chance creation, and they're unable to get past that. So they don't adapt. They don't kind of bring their game down a little bit to match the MLS level. Something that I believe guys like Robbie Keane were extremely good at doing, and that's why he was so successful. That's kind of what I'm seeing with Chicharito. His runs are maybe a little too smart for MLS. His movement off the ball. He's expecting those passes like he got in Madrid. He's expecting those passes.
As he should, though, because this is a ex superstar that is going back to that. But I'm with you, but he's far more advanced than the rest of the team on making the runs.
Sure.
But that's what I'm saying. The players have to read that. And if you get if Pavone comes back, it's a different story. If Victor Vasquez, if he comes and he passes those passes, gives the passes to Chicharito, it's a different story.
That's going to be big. And like
Sebastian Lletget, it's a different story. I don't think Chicharito needs to play down. I think the rest of the team needs to play up to Chicharito's runs and understanding where those runs are going to be made, because you need Chicharito's making all the runs. Like Greg Vanney said, it's not in his first one and the second one. You need the team to understand how he makes the run, because he's one of the best in the world to make those box to box runs and knowing where inside the box where the ball is going to go, and he's going to know where to put it.
He's one of the best poachers I've ever seen inside the 6-yard box. Chicharito's one of the best, right? As it stands right now, the team is incomplete, so it's hard to really gauge it's hard to have a metric, because you don't have your starting midfielders. You don't have Sebastian Lletget. You don't have Jonathan Dos Santos. You don't have our new winger, Grandsir, who's going to be a starter for sure. you're missing so many pieces. You're still missing that starting left winger. Whereas I guess assuming Dunbar can fill that position, but you still need that starting left winger. You need somebody else to create the chances, probably a number 10, which the LA Galaxy still doesn't have. A playmaker, a dedicated playmaker. We saw Sasha play that a little bit on Saturday, but at 35, it's going to be hard for him to really keep up, right?
Yeah.
So I think Chicharito, like you said, this is Chicharito's year to prove it. Make it or break it. 15 goals minimum. 15 goals minimum. I know he's good for more than 15, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. And I just want to give some shout outs to people in the chat. Justin Estrada says Galaxy a C plus team beat the Revs, started, just throwing some shade here. Romaldinho says, what's up? He said Chicharito will miss time because he will be winning Ballon d'Or. He said Chicha also gets called up for the Gold Cup, which could mean way more minutes for Augie. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think like all that's a possibility. Gold Cup is definitely a strong possibility for Augie Williams to get minutes within the LA Galaxy. Like I said,
sure.
and Justin Estrada says, I think also his performances against LAFC will be big for Chicharito, 100%,
Yeah.
without a doubt. Chicharito needs to score and needs to be effective in the biggest games in the MLS, and
Mm.
that's obviously against LAFC. Whether it's him scoring what you expect he will score, or having an assist like how he did last. This game told me, okay, Chicharito is going to be in the mix offensively.
For
This
sure.
last game that we saw on Saturday, if Chicharito is not involved on somehow, some way on the offensive plays this season, um, then it makes it hard for the LA Galaxy to win. Now, if Chicharito's involved in every play like how he was on Saturday offensively before they subbed him out, the LA Galaxy can definitely make a deep run.
Yeah.
They can definitely make a deep run. But I really do feel like Chicharito has a lot to prove, and I really do feel like the rest of the team, if Chicharito's making the runs that he's making, this run, his first, second run, third run, he's making great runs. The rest of the team need and Greg Vanny knows this. He's talked about this. You know, the rest of the team needs to understand, study film. I don't know if they study film. I don't know if it's like the NBA, but I would study the film of seeing, okay, if I'm Cameron Dunbar or whoever's on the right wing this Wednesday, if I made this, because Cameron Dunbar took someone on the left hand side. This I vividly remember. I don't remember one minute. He took the defender left wing side. Instead of cutting it back, Chicharito was making a run and he didn't cut it back. And Chicharito had made a great run. Now he would have to the ball would have had to gone through the defender's players, but Chicharito made a great run. But Cameron Dunbar didn't see that from the back of his head. But I
Sure.
think you got to be able to read a player like Chicharito when you can't even see them. You got to know where to put the ball. That's right now is what the LA Galaxy is missing. When the rest of the players come back, I hope they improve on that, because if
Sure.
Chicharito's making these runs and bam, 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 you got to know where he's going to be at. You got to know where he's going to make these runs, and you got to know where to put the ball at
Yeah.
for him to at least have a shot.
Yeah. And it's going to really be dependent on guys like Jonathan Dos Santos. I mean, those two guys have to show up this season. It's going to depend completely on them, I believe, at this point. The LA Galaxy's 2021 season depends on Chicharito scoring the goals and Jonathan Dos Santos holding that midfield down, creating that connection between the defense, the midfield, and the offense. That's what it's going to depend on, man. Everything else can be solid, but if Chicharito's not scoring goals, can't win games.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really see that a problem this season. I just from the eye test, granted it was one game. I don't see the Chicharito thing because he's mentally there, he's in shape. That he didn't have that last season, and that's why he deserved to get criticized. Now this season, I don't think that will be this issue. I think it's more of the playmaking and understanding
Sure.
where to put the ball for him and where to put it in the right place, and also where he can also be effective, because up there he knows, okay, if I get the ball up here, I got to hold the ball a little more to let my wingers come up, right? But I also think, to your point, you talked about Jonathan Dos Santos. Jonathan Dos Santos, this is also a make or break year for him. There's a lot of motivation for a lot of players in this LA Galaxy. One, for the season they had last year, and because their contracts, right? Some player like Jonathan Dos Santos, he's playing for another contract. He loves LA. He loves out here. We know he loves the lifestyle. But if Jonathan Dos Santos doesn't have a great season, he ain't coming back. You know,
No,
he ain't coming
yeah.
back.
He's
He
playing
has
for a contract this season.
Yeah, and he has to have the best season of his career. He has to be, and he has to stay
Mhm.
healthy. Obviously, I know he sometimes you can't control that, but if you want to stay with in LA, you got to stay healthy. And if you can't stay healthy, then it doesn't make sense for the LA Galaxy to keep a player like Jonathan Dos
Yeah.
Santos, right?
And that's a big if, an enormous if with Jonathan Dos Santos. As I mean, even this offseason, he considered retiring because his injuries were just so bad and he was in such great pain. When you get to the point as a soccer player where you start considering retirement because of your injuries, that really it says a lot. So, we can pray and hope that Jonathan Dos Santos will stay healthy all season and that he'll show up, but it's a big what if. We'll have
Yeah,
to wait
no,
and see.
and I don't blame him, right? After a 2020 year, right? And you have those injuries, right? And him to be honest and to share that, right? Not many people would share that because obviously
Mhm.
who likes to stay injured? Nobody. Nobody, right? And it really makes you contemplate life and makes you contemplate your career like it did for him. But for his sake, and for Galaxy's sake, you're glad he's coming back. He decided to come back and to stick it out because you're definitely gonna need him, right? He's your second DP on the team, and you're definitely gonna need him to perform and
Sure.
and be healthy. Just quickly here in the chat, Justin Estrada says, I also think Chicha on Saturday took a lot of heavy touches that made him lose his shot opportunities. Um, yeah, I mean that's
Preseason
that.
form.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can we can chop that up to just being rusty preseason stuff.
yeah, I don't really recall any touches, but I mean that's fair to say. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I think for me, what I sense about Chicharito on Saturday is the rest of the offense team wasn't weren't playing up to his level
for sure.
on those runs. That
Yeah,
that they're plain and simple. And there's
I can
nothing wrong
agree
with
with
that.
that.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's a preseason game. You don't have half of your guys playing, right? So, but even with that going on, he still impacted the game. Last season, he never impacted the game the way he did it this Saturday.
Yeah,
Not a single game that he played last season did he ever impact the game the way he did on Saturday against the preseason.
yeah,
If you have Chicharito like that moving forward, Galaxy can make a deep run.
yeah. And I mean, even just having him, the league knows who Chicharito is, and
Exactly. That holds weight.
team knows every team in MLS knows what he's capable of, right? If he's inside your box and you're an MLS defender, you're gonna have your eye on Chicharito. So even that itself is a huge plus for the LA Galaxy because it draws defenders to Chicharito for that reason, which I believe is going to be a plus. It's going to free up other players to actually squeeze into that
I
box and
agree.
take those shots, get those opportunities.
Agreed. Legit. I mean, put it this way, right? We have legit. Chicharito makes the first run. He takes two defenders on the near post. Who's open? Legit. We've seen legit score these goals
Yeah.
just a couple days ago with the men's national team, right?
Yeah.
I feel like a player like Legit is going to benefit. Is going to benefit off of that when Chicharito makes this run, pulls two defenders, Legit or Cameron Dunbar or Grand Sir or whoever. That's what I'm saying. These runs are the type of runs Chicharito is making. It's a threat, and it's going to bring opportunities not just to him but the rest of the guys. And that offense is gonna look insane if all these guys are rolling a beat and understand. Okay, when Chicharito does this, the ball goes here, bam, bam, bam. It just comes with practice. It just comes with practice and understanding the rhythm of the team. And it's unfortunate because when you have someone that's so far advanced and so well experienced, right? You just gotta learn. You just gotta
You
learn
got to get
quick.
with
You
it.
gotta
Exactly.
get with
Yeah.
it because hey, the train is moving and the train is moving fast.
Yeah.
And you got a superstar, and it literally just comes down to studying for some of these guys.
I agree. No, I can agree with that. Yeah.
And I just want to read quickly a quote that Greg Vanny had about Chicharito. Let me find it. This kind of just breaks everything down for us. He makes some really good runs. I still don't think we see him enough on some of the runs that he makes. I thought his work rate and overall play was excellent. He's in good form, really helping the group from a leadership perspective as well. That is what you need from him.
Yeah.
When the head coach is saying that, leadership. Last year, Chicharito was not a leader in this team.
Yeah.
This year, he's a leader, and this year, I feel like That's why the LA Galaxy are going to be different.
That's going to
And
be enormous.
be enormous. You know, you got the superstar holding it down, doing what he's supposed to be doing. Because when you see Chicharito busting his ass and making these runs hard, giving it everything he can, you best believe the next guy is gonna do it. Because if that guy's doing it, I better be doing it, because if not, I'm coming off the field. You know, and it raises everybody's level up, and that's
Yeah.
what you want. You know, and this is what the LA Galaxy have been missing. And you know, I'm excited to see obviously Wednesday when the season starts, but because this is what we expect from the LA Galaxy. It should never be anything less. It should never be anything less. And it's unfortunate what's happened the last couple seasons with the
Yeah.
LA Galaxy, but this is what you should expect when you're watching the
Absolutely.
LA Galaxy. You should be entertained. You should be watching that your players give it 110% effort all the time, no matter what season, no matter what year, no matter who's your coach. This is how it always should be.
And it's Gio, in all honesty, it's not a metric that's been set by the fans. It is a metric, a standard that was set by the LA Galaxy themselves. The history's there. The LA Galaxy makes the playoffs. The LA Galaxy makes it to the conference final, and most often the LA Galaxy makes it to an MLS Cup final, right? So that's the metric that the LA Galaxy set for themselves. It's only reasonable for fans to expect, at the very least, that the LA Galaxy makes it to the playoffs, right? I
Mhm.
don't think that's crazy to say.
Not at all. Not at all. Like if you have all your horses and you end up getting Pavone, right, you get a healthy Pavone. I mean, you're talking about a solid squad. You're literally talking about a dangerous squad, and Greg Vanny at the helm. I mean,
Yeah.
those are realistic possibilities, but one step at a time.
Yeah.
Quickly, Justin Shaw has a great question. He says, "Do you think it's too late for Legit to make a run at Europe with the current success he's having with the U.S. national team, and hopefully more with the Galaxy?" I'm gonna toss this question to you, and then I'll answer it. He's
Well,
20
as
years
as
old.
we know, as we know, Sebastian Lletget actually already played in Europe. He was at West Ham. Didn't really play much for the senior team, played a little bit, but he kind of has a taste for what that's like. And to be honest with you, he was on track to returning back to Europe prior to that injury he had a couple years ago, where he broke the bones in his foot. He's been a bit of a different player since then, but he is regaining some of that old form. He's been consistent. He's only 28 years old, which in the soccer world, Gio, as you know, 28 years old, that's the peak of your prime. That's when you enter your best year, right? 28, 29. That's when you're a complete player. I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility to say that Sebastian Lletget could end up in Europe.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I love that question, Justin Estrada. Yeah, I mean, look, he scored 2 goals with the men's national team. Yes, it was against Jamaica, but it's not international competition. And scoring 2 goals is scoring 2 goals. I
Yeah.
don't care. I don't care what way you put it. There's guys that superstars and go in the slum and can't score a goal. When the ball's right there. Sebastian Lletget is not on this team to score. Not on the men's national team to score goals, but he's doing it on
Yeah.
a consistent basis. And on top of that, he's getting called by Greg Berhalter. He's been in every single game. I think he's played every single game as well,
Yeah.
right? So yes, I definitely do see now that you asked me that question, because I didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
Anybody outside of Pavone or Araujo, it's going to Europe, but I do think Leggett has a great opportunity going back to
Uh,
Europe because of his
maybe
form.
maybe not a Manchester United or a Real Madrid, right? But definitely see him maybe in the Scottish Premier League, right?
Or mid,
Or
I see, yeah,
Fulham
I see him like
Championship.
mid tier, yeah,
Yeah,
because I see him like like Jordan Morris from Seattle Sounders, right? He
Swansea.
went he went on loan, right? I
Mhm.
could see the similar situation if Leggett is on form with Yale Galaxy. We know what he's doing with the national team. Obviously, if he does that this season, and he's obviously getting called up to the national team. The men's national team is getting a lot of attention, a lot of attention. Yes,
Sure.
we know the U23s didn't qualify for the Olympics, which is unfortunate. But the men's national team is getting a lot of attention because they have Gio Reyna, Christian Pulisic, Musa from he plays in La Liga. They have so
Sure.
much attention, and Leggett is the only MLS guy I believe that's been on there. The only MLS guy literally been on there and he's scoring goals on international level. So I think, there is an opportunity for him to get called up, on loan. I don't know his contract, but I think it's a really, really good possibility. Yeah. Justin Shaw says, yeah, he's playing middle team in Spain. Yeah. I definitely see that,
For
especially
sure.
if they play, if which we expect, and we assume Leget's going to play the same role that he plays with the national team with the LA Galaxy and vice versa, and that continues throughout the year. Leget may have his best season yet with the LA Galaxy, and that just going to raise the level on the offensive side even more.
I can see that. And I really do hope that Greg ends up playing him in the same position he plays for the national team.
Yeah,
That
because
seems to be working for him.
yeah, because I think I think I had asked him a couple of weeks ago before he left, and he's like he said he felt comfortable because sometimes when you play for your national team, you play a different role because there may be another player that's already cemented within the team, the national team, or he's been there or whatever. Obviously, we know Leget's one of the veterans on the men's national team, right? But Greg Berhalter loves him, and then he talked about this is the first time that he's going to go back and forth and play the same position. He doesn't have to change position. It's just he just goes from one team to another, and
Yeah.
has to play the role. So he's going to benefit from more of those games, more of the tough competition, and coming to the LA Galaxy, right? So the MLS, right? I'm just gonna put a blunt out there. It's not as competitive as international level, right? International level is a whole different level. But so you're coming from that to this, I could expect realm of possibilities. Leget could easily have 10 goals, easily. And I don't think that's crazy to say because
Not
if
crazy to
Chicharito
say.
is not crazy, and think about if I said that last year, right? Think if I said that last year,
Yeah.
that would be crazy. That would be like, yo, you're out of your mind.
That would be sus. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but me saying that Leget can score 10 goals is not that crazy because of what he's done with the national team and what Chicharito, we expect Chicharito to do. We expect him, like I said earlier, we expect Chicharito to attract more attention because he's fully fit.
Yeah.
10 goals
It's not
is in the
crazy.
realms.
And I mean, his very first season with the LA Galaxy, if you'll recall, Gio, back 2015, when Sebastian Lletget came into the league, he came in firing on all cylinders. He was hot. He scored 7 goals. I believe he had something like 5 assists. He was playing the right wing. He was scoring goals. He played half the season, I believe, because he came in after, halfway through the season. He's capable of doing it. He's got the ability to do it. And if Greg Vanney puts him in the right position, gives him the keys to success, puts him in the right position, it's not crazy to say Sebastian Lletget could score 10 goals this season.
Yeah, and I honestly, I can literally see the goals he scored this past weekend. I can see him scoring the same goals inside the box, like for the LA Galaxy, because
For
those
sure.
opportunities are going to be there.
For
Those
sure.
opportunities are really going to be there. And it has to be exciting. It really has to be exciting if you're Leget, you're Chicharito, right? Your Grant Sir, we expect him right to be on the right wing. And the offense, it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be exciting because this is, like I said earlier, this is what you expect from the LA Galaxy. This is what you expect from these guys. You know, and the performance. Giving it all. What does this mean for the badge? What it does it mean to wear the LA Galaxy badge? Obviously, you have Greg Vanney, who used to play with the team and knows how to hold that standard, right? The LA Galaxy standard, and you shouldn't expect anything less. And I'm glad within the first, like I said, like I started this podcast, the first 15 minutes, completely different team.
And I agree. I agree. Even given the circumstance, which is that it was most of the starters are gone, it was a different team. I agree.
Yeah, different team. So now, obviously, we got the LA Galaxy. They're going to face New England Revolution again on Wednesday, and it looks like Revolution, are doing their preseason in Southern California, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing to do. We know that they're also going to be playing LAFC as well. So I mean, they're going to be spending time out there. So this is LA Galaxy's schedule. Oh, I was going to read off the schedule because they sent it to me. Can I not find it?
Was so I have that as well on the email here.
Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously today they trained. Tomorrow they're training. And then obviously Wednesday closure match. They play at 7 p.m. Thursday they have the schedule that they're training. Friday, April 2nd, LA Galaxy travels to Tucson, and then Saturday they play in the Sun Cup, and they play Sporting KC at Saturday at 12 p.m. So I don't know if
Right.
anybody's listening is going to go out there. Tucson's really cool. I've been out there a couple times. It's nice. It's hot. It's gonna be hot. So I mean, if you're going out there, definitely take your sunscreen. Drinks lots and lots of water. But it's cool. It's kind of like they're doing kind of like spring training. They kind of like for baseball. They've been very consistent out there in Tucson. Who would have known? Out of all places, Tucson would be the spot to watch some soccer.
Sure.
And then obviously, March. Oh, that was this past week. So yeah, up until Sunday, April 4th, is what they send us. So they got 2 games this week, one on Wednesday and then one on Saturday.
One on Saturday. Right.
So
And that's at 12 p.m. against Sporting KC.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sporting KC. So I wonder if by then we'll see the starters return. We'll see Dos Santos play. We'll see Leggett back. Because that's I mean those guys are obviously playing with the national team. So will they have the rest of the team, right? I mean,
Right.
is Victor Vasquez going to be there? Is Grand Sir going to be there? Is he going to be available? Is Derek Williams going to be there? People Gonzalez going to be able to play? We expect, that's what we're expecting, right? Obviously, Julian Araujo to get some playing time because you want to see this team gelling because
Yeah.
you're literally April 17th, April 18th, a couple weeks away.
It's right around the corner, man.
The good thing, Galaxy have been playing a lot of games this season, a lot of preseason games, and that rightfully so because they've been trying to find an identity since last year, and I think all these games is just going to add more and more experience to the players, and it's going to add more and more camaraderie and build that relationship and rapport with one another.
For sure. Yeah. Give the young kids some playtime in MLS against MLS competition.
Yeah. Well, Chris, man, it's been a pleasure. I know we've been on here more than an hour, man, but I mean, it's been a pleasure having you. And we found out Chris Maldonado, he's actually my neighbor. He lives not too far from me.
We're
'Cause
actually
he
just
posted-
down the street. Yeah.
Yeah, he posted a photo of him being at LA Fitness, and I'm like, hey, I go to that LA Fitness. It's like, where do you live? And then
Yeah.
sure enough, we live like literally like
Yeah.
less than half a block from each other.
Hey, dude, we're gonna have to hit up the gym one of these days and pump some iron, man.
Let's do it, man. We'll,
Yeah.
we'll hit the weights and we'll talk some LA Galaxy, man. We got to
Hey.
do it. We live so close.
I'm always down for that. We'll get in our verbal reps.
Let's do it. Everybody, thank you guys for tuning in on the chat. Quickly, Justin says, I seen that Araujo's already in AZ. That's smart. That makes sense. If he's already there, he's doing his thing because I don't know if he had a quarantine or whatever. So that probably makes sense that, he had to do that. He goes straight to Arizona instead of coming to Cali. I'm assuming he's already there because he has to quarantine. I'm assuming. I don't know. But quickly before we let you go, Chris, let the people know where they can follow you, where they can listen to you, and all that.
Sure. So I'm at the Galaxy Guy podcast on Instagram. It's the same on YouTube. That's where my show airs, usually Monday mornings, and that's at the Galaxy Guy podcast on YouTube. I'm also on Twitter, the Galaxy Guy Pod. So you guys can find me there. And Gio, I really want to say thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I could talk LA Galaxy every single day. So I'll look forward to sitting down and talking with you again. I'll most likely have you come on the show and talk some Galaxy soccer then as well.
Definitely, brother. Yeah, I'd love to have you on. I'd love to have you on again. So, I mean, obviously, like I said, we're neighbors now, man. So, I know where you live. I know where you work out. So if not, I'll find you there for sure. But yeah, like I said, I'd love to have you on again. And I know I will. And I'd love to be on the show as well, talking Galaxy. Guys, thank you guys for listening on the chat. As you guys know, Monday nights are dedicated to LA Galaxy. Try to live stream them at every Monday at 7 p.m. You guys can also listen to this. If you're watching on YouTube, you can also listen to this podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your music, and also listen to Apple Podcasts. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to give this a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Really helps us grow the channel. If you guys want to follow me, you guys can follow me at Gio Garcia LA on Twitter, and be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at LA Soccer Hub. We're posting content up there. We're posting memes that aren't tweets that people are getting confused, but hey, we'll take it. We're starting drama, which we didn't think it would start drama. But man, I hope you guys enjoying all the content, on LA Soccer Hub, because we're putting a lot of work and just trying to put out as much as accurate information. No, we're trying to put out accurate information. We're trying to put out so much information because that's what we love, man. We love LA soccer. We love what's going on here in Los Angeles, and we love that the sport's really going. And this is what it's all about. Having guests like Chris come on, talk LA Galaxy. Obviously you guys in the chat as well. Hop on every Monday. Talk your smack, talk your shit. Do what you got to do, man. But join us on Monday night. Drop it in the chat, and we love it. So for Chris, this is